The grand hall of the Volanthi Palace glowed with soft blue light. Thousands of tiny crystals hung from the ceiling, and they moved like stars in a gentle wind. Music filled the air, strange and beautiful, played on instruments that humans had never seen before. Princess Lyrian stood alone on a balcony above the celebration. She watched her 4 sisters dance below, surrounded by admirers from a dozen different worlds. Their skin glowed bright with patterns of light, and their movements were perfect and graceful. Every noble in the galaxy wanted to marry a daughter of Emperor Vareth. Every noble except one, who wanted her. Lyrian looked down at her own hands. Her light patterns were uneven, scattered in ways that made other Volanthi look away in discomfort. Her glow was dim, barely visible even in darkness. And worst of all, her telepathic gift was broken. She could feel the emotions of others, but she could not send her own thoughts. Among her people, this made her less than nothing. She had stopped counting the suitors who had refused her. Some had been polite about it. Most had not. Below, she saw a group of strange visitors near the entrance. They were shorter than Volanthi, with solid-colored skin that did not glow at all. Humans. She had heard they had come from a small world called Earth, seeking friendship with the Empire. The court found them amusing, like clever pets that had learned to speak. One of the humans looked up. He had brown hair and kind eyes, and he smiled when he saw her watching. Lyrian quickly stepped back from the edge of the balcony, embarrassed to be caught staring. She turned to leave, but a voice stopped her. "Excuse me." The human had climbed the stairs. He stood at the entrance to the balcony, his hands folded respectfully in front of him. "I'm sorry to bother you," he said. "My name is Daniel Cole. I work with the Earth diplomatic team. I saw you standing up here alone, and I thought maybe you would like some company." Lyrian stared at him. No one had ever approached her at a celebration before. Not unless they were forced to. "Do you know who I am?" she asked. "You are Princess Lyrian," Daniel said, "the youngest daughter of Emperor Vareth. Then you know why I am alone." Daniel tilted his head slightly. "I know what people say, but I have learned that what people say is not always the truth." Lyrian felt something strange. She reached out with her empathic sense, trying to read his emotions as she did with everyone. But there was nothing. His mind was like a calm lake with no ripples. She could not feel anything from him at all. "I cannot read you," she said, surprised. "Read me?" "Your emotions. Your thoughts. I can sense them in others, but you are empty, silent." Daniel smiled again. "I have been called many things, but never empty. Maybe human minds work differently." Lyrian found herself smiling back, just a little. Maybe they do. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment. Below, the music changed to something faster, and the dancers moved in complex patterns. "It is beautiful," Daniel said, watching them. "But it looks exhausting. On Earth, we have simpler dances. 2 people hold each other and move together slowly. It is more about being close than performing. That sounds intimate. It is. That is the point." A Volanthi advisor appeared at the top of the stairs. His name was Lord Kesseth, and he served directly under the Emperor. His expression was cold as he looked at Daniel. "Human," he said, "you should return to your delegation. It is not appropriate for you to be speaking with a member of the royal family." Daniel did not seem bothered by the tone. "I meant no disrespect. I was simply having a conversation." "The princess does not need your conversation." Lord Kesseth glanced at Lyrian with barely hidden disgust. "She does not need anything from Earth." Lyrian felt shame burn through her. She lowered her eyes, waiting for Daniel to leave like everyone else did when they learned the truth about her standing. But Daniel did not leave. "With respect," he said calmly, "the princess seems perfectly capable of deciding who she wants to talk to, and she has not asked me to go." Lord Kesseth's patterns flickered with anger. You do not understand our ways, human. There are reasons why the princess is kept apart. I understand more than you think, Daniel said. I understand that you are being rude to someone who deserves better. The advisor's mouth opened and closed. No one spoke to a lord of the Volanthi court that way, especially not a human. He turned and walked away without another word, but his anger hung in the air like smoke. Lyrian stared at Daniel with wide eyes. You should not have done that. It will make trouble for your mission. Maybe, but I do not like bullies, no matter what planet they come from. Why do you care? You do not even know me. Daniel thought about that for a moment. On Earth, we have a saying. You can tell a lot about someone by how they treat people who cannot help them. That advisor treated you badly because he thinks you have nothing to offer him. That tells me everything I need to know about him. And the fact that you warned me about the trouble I might face, even after he insulted you, tells me everything I need to know about you. Lyrian did not know what to say. No one had ever spoken to her like this. Like she mattered. The gardens, she said suddenly. Have you seen the palace gardens? They are beautiful at night, when the moonflowers open. Daniel smiled warmly. I would love to see them. Will you show me? For the first time in many years, Princess Lyrian felt something like hope. She nodded and led the way down the stairs, away from the celebration where she had never belonged, towards something new and unknown. Behind them, the music played on, and the bright princesses danced with their admirers. But Lyrian did not look back. She was too busy looking forward. The weeks that followed were the happiest of Lyrian's life. Every day, Daniel found time to visit her. They walked through the gardens, sat in the great library, and talked for hours about their different worlds. Daniel told her about Earth. He described blue oceans and green forests, cities made of glass and steel, and billions of humans living together in ways the Volanthi found hard to imagine. He taught her human songs and read her human poetry. The words were simple compared to Volanthi literature, but they carried deep emotions that touched her heart. In return, Lyrian showed him the hidden places of the palace. Secret rooms that only she visited, old archives filled with forgotten history, and quiet corners where the noise of the court could not reach them. She taught him about Volanthi customs and explained the complicated politics of the empire. One evening, they sat together in a small garden that Lyrian had made her own. Flowers that glowed softly surrounded them, and the sounds of water came from a nearby fountain. I must tell you something, Lyrian said quietly, about my gift, my broken gift. Daniel turned to look at her. You can tell me anything. The Volanthi believe I am defective because I can only receive emotions, not send them. But there is something they do not understand. She paused, gathering her courage. When I receive emotions, I see the truth behind them. I can feel when someone is lying. I can sense hidden intentions that even a strong telepath would miss. Daniel's eyes widened with interest. That sounds incredibly valuable. You would think so. But my father does not agree. Lyrian's voice became sad. 3 years ago, I sensed betrayal in one of his advisors. I went to him and warned him. He laughed at me. He said my broken mind was seeing things that were not there. 2 months later, that advisor tried to steal military secrets and sell them to our enemies. What happened? The advisor was caught and punished. But my father never admitted I was right. He said it was a coincidence. He has never listened to me since. Daniel reached out and gently took her hand. The touch surprised Lyrian. Volanthi rarely touched each other so casually. But the warmth of his skin felt good, felt right. On Earth, Daniel said, we have a saying. The people who see the truth are often the ones nobody wants to believe. It does not mean they are wrong. It means everyone else is afraid of what they might say. Lyrian felt tears forming in her eyes. Why are you so kind to me? Your people gain nothing from this friendship. If anything, being seen with me hurts your position at court. Maybe I do not care about position at court. Daniel squeezed her hand gently. Maybe I care about you. The next day, everything changed. Lyrian was walking to the library when her eldest sister blocked her path. Princess Selveth was tall and perfect, her patterns glowing with strong light. She looked down at Lyrian with cold eyes. I've heard about your little human pet, Selveth said. The court is laughing at you, as if you were not embarrassing enough already. Daniel is not a pet. He is my friend. Selveth laughed cruelly. Friend? Do you think a human actually cares about you? He's using you to get close to the royal family. Once he realizes you have no real power, he will throw you away like everyone else has. Lyrian wanted to argue, but years of insults had taught her to stay silent. She lowered her eyes and tried to walk past. Selveth grabbed her arm. Listen to me, little sister. If you continue this foolishness, I will make sure the human mission fails. I will tell Father that they have insulted the crown by pursuing his worthless daughter. Do you want that on your conscience? Selveth released her and walked away, her laughter echoing through the hallway. That evening, Lyrian told Daniel what had happened. She expected him to be angry or afraid. Instead, he just nodded slowly. Your sister is a bully, he said simply. And bullies are the same everywhere. They use fear to control people, but they only have power if you let them. What can I do? She is right. I am worthless to the court. Being with me only hurts you. Daniel stood up and walked to the window. The stars were bright outside, scattered across the darkness like the patterns that Lyrian wished she had. You know what I see when I look at you? He asked. I see someone who has been told her whole life that she is broken. Someone who has been pushed aside and ignored and hurt. But instead of becoming cruel, she became kind. Instead of hating others, she still tries to help them. That is not worthless, Lyrian. That is strength. He turned to face her. On Earth, we do not judge people by how they look or what powers they have. We judge them by who they are. And you are someone worth knowing. Lyrian stood up slowly. You really believe that? I really do. I want everyone to know it. The next morning, Daniel requested a formal audience with Emperor Vareth. The entire court gathered to watch. Curious about what the human wanted. Ambassador Larva Kent stood beside Daniel, her face carefully neutral. She had warned him that this was dangerous. But she had not tried to stop him. Daniel bowed respectfully to the Emperor, a tall figure whose patterns blazed with power. Your Majesty, Daniel said clearly, I come before you with a request. I ask your permission to court Princess Lyrian according to the customs of my people. Silence filled the hall. Then, slowly, the whispers began. Shock, amusement, disgust. Emperor Vareth stared down at the small human. His expression was impossible to read. You wish to court my youngest daughter, he said flatly. Yes, Your Majesty. She is remarkable, and I want the chance to show her that she deserves to be loved. More whispers. Princess Selveth laughed openly. But Lyrian, standing in the shadows at the edge of the hall, felt her heart fill with something she had never felt before. Hope. Real. Hope. And love. Emperor Vareth was silent for a long time. Then he nodded slowly. Permission granted, he said. If the human wants the broken princess, he may have her. The words were cruel, but Daniel only smiled. Thank you, Your Majesty. I promise you will not regret this. As the court buzzed with gossip, Daniel turned and found Lyrian in the crowd. Their eyes met, and in that moment, nothing else mattered. The human had chosen her, and she had chosen him back. The Festival of Lights was the most important celebration in the Volanthi Empire. For 1 week, the entire planet glowed with color and music. Visitors came from across the galaxy to witness the beauty, and to honor the Emperor. Daniel had been given special permission to escort Leering to the public events. The court still mocked them behind their backs. Nobles pointed and whispered whenever they walked past. But Leering noticed something strange. The more time she spent with Daniel, the less the whispers hurt her. He treated her like she mattered. And slowly, she was starting to believe it herself. On the third night of the festival, a great dance was held in the central plaza. Thousands of Volanti moved in perfect patterns, their bodies glowing in harmony with the music. Daniel and Leering watched from the edge of the crowd. "It is beautiful," Daniel said, "but it looks lonely. Everyone is dancing separately, following the same steps. No one is really connecting with anyone else." Leering tilted her head. "How do humans dance? Would you like me to show you?" Before she could answer, Daniel took her hand and led her to a quiet corner of the plaza. A few Volanti stopped to watch, curious about what the strange human was doing. "On Earth," Daniel said softly, "when two people dance, they hold each other close. Like this." He placed one hand gently on her waist and held her other hand in his. Leering felt warmth spread through her body. This was more intimate than anything she had ever experienced. "Now," Daniel said, "we move together. Slowly. Just follow my lead." The Volanti music continued its complex patterns, but Daniel ignored it. He hummed a simple melody from Earth, soft and gentle, and they moved together in small circles. Leering felt his heartbeat through his chest. She felt his breath warm against her hair. Around them, the watching Volanti fell silent. This kind of physical closeness was shocking to them. But Leering did not care. For the first time in her life, she felt truly connected to another person. When the dance ended, Daniel did not let go immediately. He looked into her eyes with warmth and tenderness. "I love you, Leering," he said quietly. "I know that might seem fast by your standards, but humans do not wait to say what they feel." Leering's patterns flickered, brighter than they had ever been. "I love you too, Daniel. I did not know what love felt like before you." The moment was perfect. But it could not last. Later that night, Leering felt something that made her blood run cold. She was walking back to her chambers when she passed a group of nobles talking in hushed voices. Without meaning to, her empathic gift reached out and touched their emotions. Fear, excitement, hatred, and underneath it all, a dark satisfaction, like someone planning something terrible. She recognized one of the nobles, Lord Mevin, a powerful figure who commanded many ships and soldiers. His emotions were the darkest of all. Leering hurried to find Daniel. She found him in the diplomatic quarters, talking with his friend Kevin Price, a security officer with the Earth mission. "Something is wrong," Leering said urgently. "I sense something from Lord Mevin and his allies. They are planning something bad, something violent." Kevin looked skeptical. "Lord Mevin? He is one of the Emperor's strongest supporters. He has no reason to cause trouble." "I know what I felt," Leering insisted. "Hatred, dark satisfaction. They are going to hurt someone. Maybe the Emperor himself." Daniel did not hesitate. "I believe you. Kevin, can we investigate quietly? Without alerting anyone?" Kevin frowned, but he trusted Daniel. "I can try, but if we are wrong, this could destroy the entire diplomatic mission." "We are not wrong," Daniel said firmly. "Leering's gift has never been wrong before. Her people just refuse to listen." Over the next 3 days, Kevin used his security skills to watch Lord Mevin and his followers. What he found was disturbing. Secret meetings in hidden locations. Messages sent through encrypted channels. And worst of all, payments made to members of the Palace Guard. "It is a coup," Kevin reported grimly. "They are going to kill the Emperor during the final ceremony of the festival. And they are planning to blame it on us. On the human delegation." Lyrian felt sick. If they succeed, Earth will be seen as enemies. Your people will be executed or sent away, and no one will ever trust humans again. Daniel's jaw tightened. Then we need to warn the Emperor. He will not believe me, Lyrian said sadly. He has never believed me. Then we will have to make him believe. Daniel took her hands. This is your gift, Lyrian. This is what you were born for. Not to be ignored, but to protect. You have the power to save your father's life and to save both our peoples. Lyrian looked into his eyes and saw complete faith there. No doubt, no hesitation. He believed in her more than she had ever believed in herself. I am afraid, she admitted. I know. I am too, but we will face this together. That is the human way. We do not run from hard things. We face them side by side with the people we love. Lyrian took a deep breath. Then I will do it. I will face my father. Daniel smiled and kissed her forehead gently. That is my brave princess. The next morning, Lyrian requested an audience with Emperor Varth. She had only spoken to him a handful of times in her entire life. He had never wanted to see her, but this time she would make him listen, because this time she was not alone. The throne room was vast and cold. Emperor Varth sat on his crystal seat, surrounded by advisors and guards. His 4 eldest daughters stood nearby, watching with curiosity as Lyrian entered with Daniel and Kevin. The Emperor's expression showed nothing but tired annoyance. You requested this audience, youngest daughter. Speak quickly. I have important matters to attend to. Lyrian's heart pounded, but she stood straight and forced herself to speak clearly. Father, I have discovered a plot against your life. Lord Mevin and his allies plan to kill you during the final ceremony of the festival. They intend to blame the human delegation for your death. Silence filled the throne room. Then Princess Selveth laughed. This is absurd, she said. Lord Mevin is loyal. He has served our family for decades. And now the broken princess brings accusations based on her broken gift? Several advisors nodded in agreement. One of them stepped forward. His name was Lord Kesseth, the same noble who had insulted Lyrian at the celebration weeks ago. Your Majesty, Lord Kesseth said smoothly, we should not waste time on these fantasies. The princess is clearly seeking attention, and the humans are trying to cause division in the court. Lyrian felt despair rising in her chest. It was happening again. No one would believe her, but then Daniel spoke. We have evidence, he said firmly. We have records of secret meetings, encrypted messages, and payments made to members of the palace guard. This is not a fantasy. This is a real threat. Kevin stepped forward and presented a small device. It projected images and documents into the air, showing everything they had discovered. The Emperor leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. How did you obtain this information? I am a security officer, Kevin said. Investigating threats is what I do. We followed the trail carefully. Every piece of evidence is real. For a moment, hope flickered in Lyrian's heart. Maybe this time would be different. Then Lord Kesseth spoke again. These documents could easily be faked. Humans are clever creatures. They are trying to manipulate us. I can prove it is real, Lyrian said suddenly. My gift allows me to sense the truth in people's emotions. Let me touch Lord Kesseth's hand. If he is innocent, I will feel nothing. If he is involved in the plot, I will know. Lord Kesseth's face went pale. This is ridiculous. I will not submit to examination by a defective princess. Why not? Daniel asked calmly. If you have nothing to hide, what harm could it do? The throne room fell silent. Everyone stared at Lord Kesseth, waiting. The advisor's eyes darted toward the door. In that moment, Lyrian felt a spike of pure fear from him. He was guilty. She knew it without touching him. He is part of it, Lyring said. I can feel his fear. Lord Kesseth's face twisted with rage. Lies! All lies! He turned to the guards. Arrest the humans. They are enemies of the Empire. Nothing happened. The guards did not move. Then chaos erupted. The doors burst open, and armed soldiers poured into the throne room. They wore the symbols of Lord Mevin's house. Behind them came Lord Mevin himself, a tall noble with cruel eyes and patterns that burned with angry light. The ceremony does not start for another hour, Lord Mevin said coldly, but it seems we must move early. Thank you, Lord Kesseth, for revealing the situation. The Emperor stood, his patterns blazing. You dare to attack the throne? I will have you executed for this. You will have nothing, Lord Mevin replied. Your time is over, old man. A new era begins today. Fighting broke out as loyal guards clashed with the traitors. In the confusion, Princess Selveth was struck by a falling piece of crystal and collapsed to the ground. The other princesses screamed and ran for cover. Daniel grabbed Lyrian's arm. We need to move, now. Kevin was already fighting, using combat skills that surprised the Volanti attackers. Humans were supposed to be weak, but Kevin moved with speed and precision that they had never expected. This way, Lyrian said. I know hidden passages. We can escape through the walls. They ran through the chaos. Daniel supported Lyrian as they ducked through a small door hidden behind a tapestry. Kevin followed, carrying the unconscious Princess Selveth over his shoulder. The passage was dark and narrow, built long ago for servants to move through the palace unseen. Lyrian had discovered it as a child, one of many secret places where she hid from a world that did not want her. Where does this lead? Daniel asked. Everywhere. The passages connect to every part of the palace. I can take us anywhere. Lyrian paused, sensing something. There are loyal guards still in the lower levels. I can feel their emotions. Fear, but also determination. They want to fight back. Daniel nodded. Then we gather them. We organize a counterattack. Kevin set Princess Selveth down gently. She was breathing, but unconscious. You want to fight back? With what? We are outnumbered and outgunned. We have something they do not expect, Daniel said. We have human tactical thinking. And we have Lyrian. Lyrian blinked. May, what can I do? You can sense emotions. That means you can tell us where the enemies are, which guards are loyal, and where the weak points in their formation are. You are the most valuable soldier we have. For the first time in her life, Lyrian felt truly needed. Not tolerated. Not ignored. Needed. I can do that, she said firmly. I can guide you. Daniel smiled and pulled her close for a brief moment. That is my brave princess. Now let us take back your father's throne. They moved through the passages, gathering loyal guards as they went. Lyrian sensed each one before they approached, confirming their loyalty before Daniel revealed their presence. Within an hour, they had assembled a small force of 30 soldiers. It was not enough to fight directly, but it was enough to strike where the enemy did not expect. The throne room, Lyrian said. Lord Mevin is holding my father there. If we can reach them, we can end this. Daniel looked at his small army. Volanti soldiers who had never trusted humans. But they were looking at him now with something new in their eyes. Respect. Follow me, Daniel said. And trust Lyrian. She will guide us through. They moved into the darkness, ready to fight for everything they had. The hidden passages twisted through the palace like veins through a body. Lyrian led the group with confidence she had never known before. Every time they approached a corner, she reached out with her gift and sensed what waited ahead. 3 enemies, she whispered. Around the next turn. They are nervous, not expecting trouble. Daniel nodded to Kevin, who moved forward silently with 2 Volanti soldiers. Within seconds, the guards were down, and the path was clear. They continued deeper into the palace. The sounds of fighting echoed through the walls. Lord Mavin's forces were spreading through the building, hunting for anyone who might resist. But they did not know about the passages. They did not know about Lyrian. Finally, they reached a hidden door that opened behind the great throne. Through a tiny crack, Lyrian could see the throne room. Her heart ached at what she saw. Emperor Vareth knelt to the floor, his hands bound, his patterns dim with exhaustion. Lord Mavin stood over him with a weapon raised. Around them, dozens of traitor soldiers stood guard. "The old empire ends today," Lord Maven announced. "Your weakness has brought us here, Vareth. Your foolish trust in diplomacy. Your pathetic tolerance of lesser species. The Volanthi were meant to rule, not to make friends. You will fail," the Emperor said quietly. "Someone will stop you." Lord Mevin laughed. "Who? Your loyal guards are scattered or dead. The humans are running like the cowards they are. And your precious daughters?" He gestured to where the 3 remaining princesses huddled in a corner, terrified. "They will make excellent hostages until I decide what to do with them." Lyrian felt cold fury building inside her. For her whole life, she had been pushed aside and ignored. She had accepted it because she believed she deserved it. But now, watching this monster threaten her family, she finally understood something important. She had been wrong about herself. And she was done being invisible. "Daniel," she whispered, "I need to do something. Something I have never done before. What is it? My gift only receives emotions. I cannot send them. But I have never really tried. Not with everything I have." She looked into his eyes. "If I can project my emotions, even for a moment, I might be able to distract Lord Mavin. Give you a chance to strike." Daniel cupped her face in his hands. "That could hurt you." "I know. But this is what I was born for. Not to hide. To protect." Daniel kissed her forehead. "Then do it. I will be right behind you." They burst through the hidden door. Lord Maven spun around, shocked. "What? How did you?" Lyrian stepped forward. Every emotion she had ever felt came rushing up from deep inside her. The loneliness of being unwanted. The pain of endless rejection. The shame of being called broken. And underneath it all, the hope that Daniel had given her. The love that had changed everything. She pushed. The wave of emotion hit Lord Mavin like a physical force. He staggered backward, his weapon falling from his hands. His face twisted in confusion and pain as feelings he had never experienced flooded through his mind. "What? What is this?" he gasped. "This is everything you made me feel," Lyrian said. "Every cruel word. Every cold look. Every moment of being treated like nothing." She pushed harder. "But this is also what I found despite you. Love, hope, strength." Lord Mevin fell to his knees, overwhelmed. Daniel moved. He crossed the distance between them in seconds, striking Lord Maven with a blow that sent the traitor sprawling unconscious on the floor. Kevin and the loyal soldiers poured through the door, engaging the confused traitor guards. Without their leader, the enemies fought poorly. Within minutes, the throne room was secured. Daniel helped Emperor Vareth to his feet and cut his bonds. The Emperor stared at his youngest daughter with wide eyes. You saved me," he said slowly. "I did not believe you. I have never believed you. And still, you saved me." Lyrian's legs felt weak. The effort of projecting her emotions had drained her completely. But she forced herself to stand straight. "I did not do it for thanks," she said. "I did it because it was right. Because someone taught me that doing the right thing matters more than how people treat you." She looked at Daniel, who smiled at her with pride and love. Emperor Vareth followed her gaze. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, slowly, he bowed his head. "I was wrong," he said. "About you. About humans. About everything." He turned to the watching crowd, including his other daughters who were being helped to their feet. "My youngest daughter has shown more courage and wisdom than any of us, and the humans have proven themselves true allies." The throne room fell silent. This was not just a statement. This was the Emperor admitting he had been wrong. In Volanti culture, such a thing was almost unheard of. 1 month later, the palace gardens were filled with guests from across the galaxy. The trees were decorated with lights, and music played softly in the warm evening air. Daniel stood at the center of the garden, wearing a simple dark suit in the human style. Beside him stood Kevin, acting as his best man. Ambassador Laura Kent sat in the front row, tears in her eyes. She had never expected the diplomatic mission to lead to this. But she had never been happier to be wrong. Then Liren appeared. She wore a gown of silver and blue that flowed around her like water. Her patterns glowed brighter than they ever had before, not because they had changed, but because she finally felt worthy of showing them. She walked toward Daniel, and he took her hands. "You know," he said softly, "on Earth, the groom is supposed to be nervous. But I am not nervous at all. I have never been more sure of anything in my life." Liren smiled. "And on Volanti, the bride is supposed to be calm and dignified. But I cannot stop smiling. Ben, we're both breaking the rules. I think that is what we do best." The ceremony blended human and Volanti traditions. Daniel placed a simple gold ring on Liren's finger, a human symbol of eternal love. Liren touched her forehead to his, sharing the emotional bond that Volanti couples exchanged at their joining. When it was over, Daniel kissed her. The Volanti guests gasped at the intimate gesture, but Liren kissed him back without hesitation. Emperor Varoth watched from his place of honor. Beside him, Princess Selveth, who had recovered from her injuries, sat in silence. She had not apologized for her cruelty, but she had stopped speaking against Liren. That was a start. Later that night, Liren and Daniel stood together on the balcony where they had first met. The stars stretched out above them, beautiful and infinite. "I finally understand something," Liren said. "I always wondered why I could not read your emotions. I thought it was because humans were different. But now I think I was wrong. What do you think now?" She leaned against him, feeling his warmth, his heartbeat, his love. "I think humans feel too deeply to be contained. Your emotions are not hidden from me. They are everywhere, so big that I cannot sense where they begin or end. Like trying to see the ocean when you are swimming in it." Daniel wrapped his arms around her. "Is that a good thing?" Liren smiled and looked up at the stars. "It is the best thing. It means I get to spend my whole life learning how you love. And I cannot wait." Above them, the stars continued their endless dance. And below, two hearts from different worlds beat as one, proving that true love sees what others miss and chooses what others reject. Because in the end, it was never about being perfect, it was about being chosen.